I'm really excited to be joining you all this evening. I think action on climate change is incredibly important, and I just wanted to give you a little insight into why it's important to me. I'll explain how this is all relevant in just a minute.
Okay. It's always the cardboard box that's the best thing.
Cool. So these are some young people in my life that are extremely important to me. So the first couple of pictures were my godson Rufus. The little video is my goddaughter Ava, and this young man here is called Jasper. He's my my cousin's son. These young people are extremely important to me, and I think that I'm actually a chemist by training, as well as being CEO of a startup. And I think that the need for action has never been more pressing than now. We are in the last few years where we get to make a difference and put off the potential of societal collapse and these young people's lives being completely marred and possibly ended by the consequences of our collective actions. So there's no point for me in explaining the why, explaining how to fix things without explaining the why. I just want you to understand why this is important to me and why it's important to me that everyone here is taking this extremely seriously and doing whatever they can to take action. So today I'm chief exec of a 70-person startup, but before that I was a transport planner, and I helped to redesign streets and ran other projects that helped people move around in ways that were not based in motor travel. I think kids are incredibly important in changing behavior. So if you succeed in having a young person travel by walking and cycling, and so that they learn the skills of walking and cycling such that they can use them in later life, then you accrue a whole lifetime of benefits. Whereas if you change the behavior of someone who's a bit older, first of all, it's a bit more problematic, it's a bit more challenging, but second of all, you get less years of benefit. So school streets was one of the measures that I introduced to London. I got the idea from a transport planner in the Netherlands. I'm someone who's very keen on disruptive change. I'm keen on spotting the opportunities to really radically change the way we do things. And school streets, today there are some 500 school streets in the UK. Hopefully there's one near you, and you've seen the co-benefits that come with tackling climate change, where you can see children hanging out in the street, having a great time, parents networking, all the benefits that this brings. So it's not just, we're solving a whole load of problems all in one here. We're not just stopping everyone dying of climate change. We're also making people's lived experience better. Here's another project that I ran. It's like a community cycling project. That's actually me there in the middle with the funny hat. I turned up in council estates. I taught people to ride bikes, and this project got bigger and bigger. And we started using bikes like the bike that I'm sitting on in the middle of this picture to transport the bikes to council estates. And we found that that was much more efficient than using a van. And so that gave me an idea. So I got some special bikes built and then started a company. That company is called Pedal Me. You might well have seen our bikes in operation. I'm not here to sell the company to you. I'm really keen that you just understand the power of disruptive change and the scale of change that's needed, and some examples of the sort of changes that are needed to allow us to continue to enjoy the quality of life that we live today. So Pedal Me, who we are and what we do. So we're a taxi and delivery company using only cargo bikes and trailers. Pedal me method. So we train people to a really high standard to ride our bikes. We pay them really well. And by building a culture that's entirely set around using bikes to transport people and things around, allows us to do a lot more jobs than other people would be able to do by bike. That means that we're 60% more efficient than using a van for deliveries, which means we can be cheaper. And that's allowed us to grow from me and one other guy riding around 4 years ago to 70 people today, despite a quite inconvenient pandemic in the middle of all of this, which massively slowed us down. So what kind of freight and deliveries can you do by bike? Well, we're not talking about delivering a single box. Here's 270 boxes of flowers being delivered to Bethnal Green. These boxes originate in Hounslow, that's where we pick them up from. We then split them out onto bikes to do individual runs, so we're maximizing efficiency. We can collect empty beer kegs in high numbers. We can help people to move house. We can deliver pastries and dough and the like to restaurants. And we can do large-scale home deliveries. But we can also carry people to their vaccination appointment, deliver coffee at scale. And when there's a lockdown and there's a need to deliver to sick and shielding people to prevent them from making other people sick or avoid shielding people coming into contact with the risk of getting sick, and you need delivery in a hygienic fashion at massive scale, then we can do that too, using bikes. But also we can operate in conditions in which motor vehicles really struggle. So this was the Beast from the East in 2018. It was actually an incredibly busy period for us because most motor-based logistics services completely broke down in the snow and the ice. And we were able to keep on operating to a much higher level. And we were actually operating shorter delivery times than normal because although we were riding slower because we were riding on ice, there were less motor vehicles getting in our way.
So about a minute left, Ben.
Great. So of all commercial urban logistics, we think that we can do about 95%. So every van, truck, bus, sorry, not buses, every van that you see out and about, every taxi you see out and about, 95% of those trips could be replaced by a pedal me bike doing those jobs. I'm not going to show these because it's taking too long. Here are the additional benefits that we can offer. So the key thing is that compared to electric vehicles, bikes are much, much more carbon efficient. So before an electric vehicle's got out of the garage, the CO2 emissions from the manufacturer of that vehicle we can cover 300,000 kilometers with our bikes and build 3 of our bikes. And we're building ever more fancy bikes so that they can go quicker, go further, all this kind of thing. So we've only just got started. Cool. That's me. Hopefully that's given you something to think about. And I look forward to the small group discussions.